Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from T&J, and welcome to the Indianapolis franchise. The Arrows are sitting here at 27 and 28. We are actually sitting pretty well right now, and we are probably the hottest we've been so far this season, over 50 games into the season. We are on a 7-game win streak. We are 17 and 6 within the division, and at home we are actually 9 and 16, believe it or not. So far, I credit a lot of this season to some guys that I didn't expect to have like these hot at bats, like Jack Suwinski. I mean, the guy is hitting 300, he's slugging 640, 8 home runs on the season. Like, he is hitting tremendously. Raimel Tapia hitting well once again. Alex Verdugo, the new signing, hitting well too. Longevitiy, his average has dipped a little bit to 240, but he did start out pretty hot. Ray Gonzalez, since being moved up, is only hitting 203. I'm sure he will get warmed up. But Lane Thomas is only hitting 197, which I'm pretty surprised at. Like, he hit like 280 last year, and now he's hitting 197 in a contract year nonetheless. And then Connor Wiegman hitting 183. I mean, this is probably 2 years in a row. It's a trend. Like, this is just not good, especially for a guy that was supposed to be one of our top prospects in our organization. So it's something to monitor, but we're probably going to end up moving him down. So on that 7-game win streak, I decided to just sim the next game, and we end up losing it 3-5 versus Texas. So the win streak ends at 7. And I decided to get through the last week of May here. We end up dropping 2 of 3 from Texas. And then we get to the last couple of months of the season. One of our prospects, Lana Gonzalez, is done for 2-3 months. And then we end up losing the last 2 games of the month there at the end of the month of May. So we dropped to 28 and 32. I want to focus on this outfield because there are some guys that are going into, like I said, a free agent year, and Lane Thomas is one of them, hitting below 200. Pat Washington, he's hitting below 200. He's fine. He's under contract, but still struggling quite a bit. Longevitiy got his average up to 284 over that 5-game stretch. Jack Suwinski's hitting great, and he's probably going to be sticking around for a while now. I was definitely thinking about, moving on from him if he continued to struggle. And then we obviously have Raimel Tapia hitting 280. So let's hop into some action here in this episode as we evaluate these outfielders and see who is going to be, the pieces of the future. Jack Suwinski up in the lineup. He's hitting at number 2 now, hitting over 300, facing the Washington Nationals, and we're going to player lock on him today. He's going to ground out 2 short into the double play here at home. Now, these home wins are important because we have been struggling for some reason at home, so we'll see what Suwinski can do today. His second AB hits one to short. Look at this long throw. That's going to be an excellent Derek Jeter-esque throw right there. Jack Suwinski's 0 for 2 today. Facing Justin Dunn, who is pitching a shutout so far. His 69th pitch of the game will be over the middle. Suwinski gets a hold of this one deep to right field. Suwinski's got good speed. It does knock off of the warning track and bounces over the wall for the ground rule double. Suwinski has his first hit of the ball game. But Indianapolis has failed to score up to this point. It's 3-0. Dunn is still going the complete game. And here's Suwinski leading off the bottom of the 9th inning. He gets an inside pitch. This one's driven deep to right field, but it looks like it just stays up in the air. We are getting shut out at home, but take a look at this. We end up winning this game. So Suwinski started out the 9th inning leading off. It was 3-0, and we end up scoring 3 runs in the 9th after that and end up winning in extras 4-3. A crazy win right there. Suwinski goes 1 for 4 with a double, but he is hitting the ball tremendously so far this year. So on to the next matchup. Facing the Diamondbacks, they are 33-34 on the season. Very, very comparable to us. And we will move on to the next outfielder. Noah is on the mound. He is pitching decently, but we will focus on Longevitiy. Is Longevitiy a starter in the outfield? I'm not sure. I think one thing I have to see from him is got to put it together for a full season. So here he hits one to the left side. This one's knocked down by the third baseman, and they try to turn two, but they will rule this one actually a base hit. So Ojo Taikon 1 for 1 today. Now a 3-1 ball game for his second at bat, and Ojo gets hit in the back. And now it is 5-1 as we move on to the top of the 6th inning. Here he gets an outside off-speed pitch. He is just a bit early on that one. Ground ball to second. And Taikon does have some power. I am looking for a little more power in the lineup, especially from our outfielders, because I think that's where our power is going to be produced here in this series. We don't really have any power-hitting infielders besides Pablo Reyes. So it ends up being 10-1 in this game. I mean, we are blowing out the Diamondbacks in this one. Inside pitch up in the zone. Good timing, but just a fly ball to right field. And that one will end it. We go on to win this game here on the road. And we get a nice victory here at the end of the month. 10-1. 13 hits to their 8. Todd Workman does get the victory in this game. So one thing I really like about, the top of our lineup is that we do get a lot of hits. Like, that is the thing. We get a lot of hits at the top of our lineup. For some reason, though, we're not producing runs. In that game we did, but, coming towards the end of the month, we just keep kind of losing games slowly. Like, now we're 32-38, now playing the Angels on the road. I guess that's a good thing because we're winning most of our games on the road. And here is Alex Verdugo hitting at the top of the lineup. We like to fluctuate him between 4 and 5. He could hit 2 as well, but Jackson Winski's hitting so well, I'm hitting him at the top of the lineup. So here he is in the top of the first inning, men on first and second. That one will just be a deep fly ball. He barely got under that one, facing Jose Suarez. His second AB will be another off-speed pitch on the outside half. He just goes up the middle. Verdugo has really shown that he can be an elite-level player here for this Arrows team. He is under contract for the next 3 years, and I'm excited to have him. He is the starter at left field, and I don't think he's going to lose his spot anytime soon. He is the full-time left fielder. So now facing Suarez now in the 5th inning. Oh, that one was called a strike 3. I don't know about that one, but the ump gives it to Suarez. Well, it's now 9-2. Tyler Anderson now into pitch, and we are getting blown out in this one. Alex Verdugo, in his final at-bat today, will fly out to third base. A one-hit day for Verdugo as well. So back-to-back one-hit days for the player locks here. And they get 15 hits to our 6. I mean, that is kind of, a lopsided victory if there ever was one. But Verdugo, very, very good. I'm excited about what he will bring. But coming out of that matchup, we get some terrible, terrible news. Francisco Mejia out with a dislocated shoulder for 1 to 2 months. That will probably sideline him until probably the All-Star break or so. Now, we signed Travis d'Arnaud in the offseason to be a backup. He's going to have to play a bigger role, but we need another guy here. Jim Hall is just not ready yet. He is our top catching prospect. He is 21 years old, and I'm not going to rush him up just due to injury. He is just not ready yet. He's at AA. He still hasn't even hit against AAA pitching yet, so I'm not going to move him up right now, but he is a guy that is next in line. And looking at our other options, just not looking good. So I decide to go to the trade block and take a look at the catchers that are here because it's probably needed at this point. We need a guy that's going to fill in a role that is crucial to our team. There are a couple of guys. Drake Baldwin is here from the Braves, 23 years old, beat potential though, so he's going to probably cost a lot, so I decided to just pass on him. Chris Beck from the Blue Jays is pretty good defensively and offensively. He's hitting 256, which is pretty good. On-base percentage at 310. And for a backup catcher, that isn't too bad. I would take that in a heartbeat. And then there's Thomas Nido. The thing about him is that he is under contract and will be a free agent next season. So I think that out of all 4 of these guys, including Daniel Suzak, who is a B potential 23 years old prospect, he's just not ready for the show. I decided to go after Chris Beck, mainly because he's under cost control. He's a lot cheaper, and if we need him as a future backup catcher, he is also available to play that role. And Nido is, like I said, going to be a free agent, $2.2 million contract, and we would just lose him. So I don't see any value in getting him. So I decided to go after Chris Beck, and all they really want is Spencer Ferguson, who's one of our subscriber prospects here. There's no promise that if you do get a subscriber prospect that you are going to stay in the organization. This time, Spencer Ferguson is only hitting below 200, just above 200, I should say. And we decide to make that deal to fill this void for the next, month and a half, 2 months. So now we face the Oakland Athletics, who are in a rebuild just like us. They did sign a couple of free agents in the offseason like Willy Adames, but we will see what happens here at home. Can we get a victory? We need some home victories here this season. Here is Chris Beck's first AB with the arrows. He hits one up the middle. That one gets through, but the runner will hold at third. Its bases loaded here with 1 out. Chris Beck in his first AB gets a hit up the middle. That's a good sign. Beck is interesting. He is 29 years old. He's much like Freddie Fermin that we had earlier in this series, a 29-year-old catcher, not really expected to be like a cornerstone piece, but kind of just be a filling guy that I will move up and down from the MLB level to AAA. So now on to the bottom of the 5th inning. Beck up for his third at bat, and after that first one he hit up the middle, 2 fly balls in his next 2 at bats. So now we move on to his 4th AB. It's still 2-1 here. 3-1 now in the bottom of the 7th inning with a chance to drive a runner in. Facing Sam Maul, he hits one well up the middle, but that one is snagged by Adames. A perfect liner, but it is caught. And we'll see if we get the victory, and we do. It's 3-1. A 9-hit game here for the Arrows. You can just see here Ray Gonzalez 2 for 2. He's starting to heat up. Ian Happ went 2 for 5 also. Workman gets the win once again, only giving up a 1 earned run. But after that victory, we still continue to lose. We're 33-43, and we are now 10 games under 500 as we just keep advancing on in this season. Now taking a look at Lane Thomas. I think you have to start to wonder, do we start to trade one of these veterans? Because now we're 10 games under 500, and it's not looking good right now. And Lane Thomas maybe has, I would say, the most trade value as far as his potential and overall, but as far as obviously production, he's probably the worst out of all of these outfielders we're looking at today. Here he gets one right over the middle. He is late on that one, but you would expect anything on that. Like, just hit it to right field softly. Instead, it is a fly ball to Nelson Velasquez playing in right field for the Blue Jays. 5-2 game now. Lane Thomas 0 for 2. Make it 0 for 3. He goes down swinging as Kevin Gossman is pitching onto the 7th inning. Here on to the 8th inning. Here is Eric Swanson on the mound, and Lane Thomas just continues to struggle, and that has been the story for Thomas. He has a good arm in right field. A lot of you guys haven't been a fan of Lane Thomas, so I'm curious on what we're gonna do here with Thomas. I don't know if we're gonna keep him. It doesn't make much sense if we don't have any long-term spot for him. So I decide to go to the AAA level and maybe look at a guy that could replace him if we do move on from him. We still obviously have Alex Verdugo, Jack Sawinski, Ojo Taikan, and Ramel Tapia, but we probably need a 5th outfielder. That's where we go to the minor leagues and look at the rookie, I would say first-year minor league player in Keith Rice. He was really good at the University of California, and we will see what he's doing here at the AAA level. He's hitting .299. He hits 3rd in the lineup for our Omaha Storm Chasers, and I want to see what he can do for us, possibly at the MLB level. Like, I think he could be a really good player. His defense isn't the greatest, but his bat is really good right now. So he has an OPS of 825 here for our Storm Chasers, hitting .299. And hitting right in the middle of the order at that 3 spot. He is our best batter at AAA. And here in his first AB, he gets a hanger. It does not miss off of the scoreboard in left. It's a home run. Keith Rice just gets a hold of that pitch. And if you want a way to get the attention of the scouts here in the Arrows organization, that's it. 429, 107 exit velo. That pitch was crushed. The pitcher knew it right away. Keith Rice 1 for 1. Now let's see how he does with a man in scoring position here. Man on second base. He hits one hard up the middle. That one is going to be backhanded but missed. And Keith Rice with actually excellent speed. He has 80 speed. He is aboard on first. And, you know, some would say, yeah, that was an error. But hitting it in a position where the fielder has to make a pretty tough play and have the speed to beat that out, that's pretty good hitting. So now he's 1 for 2 in this one. Now onto the bottom of the 5th inning, and he was just a bit behind that one. Robert Gasser gets him to swing and miss. It's now 8-3. Our pitching is getting shelled here for the Storm Chasers. And here comes Keith Rice up for his 4th at-bat. A deep fly ball to left center, and the center fielder covers a lot of ground getting to that one. And look who it is. It's Hideo Takahashi, who we were thinking about drafting in last year's draft. He runs that one down and does end up sealing up the victory here for Nashville. The Nashville Sounds get the 8-3 victory. And Keith Rice, though, showing off his bat. And I want to look at him a little further. We unfortunately get some bad news. Jacob McDonald at the MLB level is also hurt. So Francisco Mejia and Jacob McDonald are both going to be on the injured list for the next 2 months. This is very unfortunate. Jacob McDonald, we moved up as an 18-year-old, and he was absolutely amazing. 2.64 ERA last year, around a 1 WHIP, but this year he's kind of having a down year, pitching in more games. Maybe that's it, maybe getting some experience, but he is injured. He wasn't doing well at all, but still, it's another arm we're missing now. So we're 2 guys down on the injured list. So now we want to take a closer look at Keith Rice and really validate what we just saw last game and see if he can replicate the same thing. Here hitting 298. He hits one well up the middle. That one will get down for a single. The run will come around third, head home, and it will be a close play at the plate. But Keith Rice comes through with an RBI single. Here is Steven Benitez at the plate, but we're not focusing on him. How about Keith Rice in this speed? He rounds second and heads to third, trying to get to third. He does get thrown out, but you got to love the aggressiveness. I think Keith Rice can really be a good MLB player, especially with his speed, his ability to steal bases, and he could be what we're missing, a guy that can score runs at the top of the lineup. I really think he could hit at the top of the lineup, probably lead off. Like if I move him up, I think Ian Happ will have to move down either to the 2 spot or the 5 spot in the lineup. But here is Rice now up for his 3rd at-bat. This is going to be a fly ball to center field. So he is 1 for 3 today. I want to see a good at-bat here in his final AB. And now I'm on to the top of the 9th inning. The Omaha Storm Chasers are down 2-1. We need a big hit here from the rookie Keith Rice. And he hits one well down the right field line. That one will be a double. Probably at our home field, at Victory Field, that's probably a triple. Here in this small minor league ballpark, it's just a double. But Keith Rice showing off the bat here today, and I think he looks very good as a hitter, very polished as well. As you can see, he hits the ball in the alleys too. Like even that deep fly ball to left center field last game, his last at bat, it was an alley shot. It just got run down by an excellent outfielder in Takahashi. We do end up not scoring him, though. We lose this one 2-1 to the St. Paul Saints. But I like what I see from this kid, Keith Rice. You know, he's going to be a guy that we drafted last season. He's only 75 potential. We drafted him 75 potential, 75 overall. But I like what he has, and he's really shown me some things here at the AAA level, hitting around 300. So he could get moved up pretty soon if we start to slide some more, and we do. Look at the month of June. It's a lot of L's on the calendar. We have 6 total wins in this calendar month, and we slide all the way down to 34-51. We are still 17-9 in the division, 13-27 at home. I mean, that is the worst home record in baseball. I don't know how we're doing so poorly at home, but it's just cut out that way. I don't know what's going on with this team. And I want to point it to, you know, our offense. I think we're just not scoring runs at all. We have 317 runs scored, which is one of the worst in the MLB. So now, do we really start to trade some veterans away and get ready for the draft. And I think that's maybe the track that we're headed on, unless it turns around quickly here heading into July. So today we will look in the second half of this episode at the draft coming up next episode. Let's take a look at some of the guys we are looking at with our number 4 overall pick. First is Jackie Cochran. He is an 18-year-old middle infielder who can also play in the outfield. Very, very comparable to what Ray Gonzalez did when we drafted him. He was a guy that was a shortstop coming in, and his secondary positions were all the outfield spots. Cochran is very, very comparable in every way to Gonzalez. Good defensively. He can hit the ball for contact. He has decent vision. He does have a little more power than Gonzalez had, but I think that this is like a very, very comparable player. If I can get 2 Ray Gonzalez's out of 3 years, that's pretty good. So I'm looking at Cochran here. If he falls, I think he will actually end up going in the top 3. But if he falls to us, he is MLB draft rank number 9. I could see us picking him up. He can be anywhere from 62 overall to 77 overall and could be a possible another A potential player. The next guy we're looking at here for this number 4 pick, our scouts have him draft rank number 5, David McGowan. He is a third baseman, and he kind of has similar ratings to what Cochran has. And I don't think we can go wrong with either of these guys. I would be happy with selecting either guy. Now, McGowan, I think, is going to be a better hitter out of the gate. But I think that, Jackie could really be a higher potential guy. That's just how I kind of see it. McGowan is going to be elite defensively, but he's not going to play every infield spot. He can play first base and second base, but his primary position is going to be third base. We're considering 3 guys with this pick. I love having the number 4 pick because we have options here. The last guy is Bernardo Figueroa. He is a lefty high school pitcher. He's 18 years old. He is MLB ranked in the 20s, but our scouts have him at number 6. I really, really like what he brings to the table. I think he can be a guy that our rotation could eventually, have as a quality starter. I don't think he'll ever be a star, but I think he is going to be a quality starter. He has excellent command. He's not going to strike out a ton of guys, but he's going to be a guy that's going to get you through a lot of innings. One last, guy that we could consider here is Phil Gwynn. He has great power and good fielding, great arm strength, but his contact is too low for me to select a number 4. I think that his potential there is way too low, so I don't want to take that risk in getting a guy that's just a power bat. So this draft class, as I was just evaluating it, just looking at the top 30 here as far as our rankings, I didn't really see any guys that I thought could be generational. I scouted a couple of guys that I thought could be, but I don't think there are a lot of guys that could be generational prospects. So I look to our second round, third rounds, and fourth round picks here, and I look at some guys that could be available that are high value. First is Joaquin Hartley. Very, very good hitter. I think this guy could be another one of these Keith Rices. He has excellent potential with his contact. I think he can be an elite level base hitter, meaning that I think he can be a guy that can hit for base hits. Do I think his power has big upside? No, but I know he's going to be an excellent hitter in the future. He's got 80 to 90 potential. He's probably going to take a couple of years to develop, but he has excellent reaction as well and pretty good speed. The next guy I'm looking at here is J.R. Gomes. He is a right-handed pitcher, and he is a guy that is going to be a guy that limits hits. Like, this guy is elite at the college level, and we know he's going to come in with 81 to 91 potential. He went to the University of Texas and was the number 3 in the rotation behind Ray Ramirez, who was the number 1 MLB ranked pitcher last year. But I think that Gomes is going to be a guy that we could find value in late in the draft. He is draft ranked at number 69. We'll see if he falls that low because maybe another team is scouting him and seeing that, yeah, he does have some pretty good upside. Another lefty here with our second pick could possibly be Juan Moreno. Now, he is draft ranked number 35 in the MLB. Our scouts have him ranked at 64, and I kind of disagree with them. Like, he has excellent command. He can go late in games, and playing at North Carolina, he probably gets that name prestige as well. And I think that this is a guy that could be an eventual MLB starter. Like, he's going to need a couple of years of development, just like the other two guys we just looked at. But he's going to limit home runs. He's going to hit his zones. He's going to locate pitches. That's kind of what he's going to be as a MLB player in the future. I want to check out some, guys late in this draft that I'm going to be looking at. First is Fred Scott. Now, you may think I'm crazy here. His potential is 56 to 70. But his overall is going to be somewhere between 65 and 79. One thing that I said that we lacked here in this season is a guy that can score runs. And there's no other guy that scores more runs than Scott here in the NCAA. He plays for the University of Alabama, and he just gets on base, and he scores easily. Because when he gets on first, he's swiping second. When he gets on second, he's swiping third. Like, he is that elite of a base stealer, and he's a guy that we could potentially draft late in this draft. Now, I don't believe in having potentials lower than your overall. So no matter what his overall is, if it comes in lower than his potential is, but no matter what his potential comes in as, he's going to match his overall. So he's not going to have a potential less than what his overall is. So if he's 65 overall, he's going to be 65 potential. I don't believe in having potentials lower than your overall, because when you get drafted, you get better. You don't get worse. So the next guy I want to look at is Leo Gonzalez. He is also a guy that's ranked around number 100. I'm hoping that he could possibly be a B potential guy. He's going to be between 62 and 67 overall. He plays for Ohio State. I don't have any film on him, but he is an interesting prospect. Another pitcher I want to look at here late in the draft that is actually not ranked, and he pitched next to Babe Miller, so this would be a reuniting of teammates, is John Field. Field is interesting because he's not being scouted and he's not being highly regarded at all. But one thing I like about him is that he locates pitches, he goes late in games, and he is composed. Like, regardless of what's happening on the mound, he's going to be the same John Fields. Just excellent command, excellent attention to detail. He's going to work on his skill. I have no issue with getting him with our probably fourth pick. I think he's got that type of upside. 85 to 98 potential. Yeah, his overall could come in a little lower, but his potential and his upside is pretty hard to ignore. The last guy we discovered here is Matt Taylor. He is our number 104th ranked prospect, but he is not ranked in baseball. He is 19 years old out of high school, and I think he's a guy that we can maybe steal late in the draft. So that's going to do it here for this episode. And next episode, we will have the MLB draft, and I will have the reveal ratings. Wow. The ratings revealed all in that episode. So we're going to get through July and get through the draft, to get through the All-Star break, and probably the trade deadline as well, so we can get to the reveal of our draft picks. But we'll see what happens here. I'm not really sure if we are going to be trading away our veterans. Right now, it's probably looking that way, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. And you saw the candidates. Lane Thomas could be traded. Who knows? So hit subscribe, hit that like button. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Next one will be the draft, so stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.
I like getting money, I got time to get it. Target on me, so my car's a tinny. Dancing with the devil, I don't bargain with it. Bobbing in the dash, and the stick is with it. And I hit the 4-5 on the west side. But I'm from the east side, this how we slide. This how we ride, yeah, this how we